Hey friends, welcome back to the next video. Now before we dive deeper into DAX and Power BI, I'd like to actually take here the chance to give you a little bit more information about table functions. Because so far we created a lot of measures in here, and during the measure creation we used specific table functions. What I mean by that is, for instance, here in the rolling 30-day sales we used the filter function. And we also use the all selected function. Or as an example, in the ranking, if I select this measure, we use the all function in here. So these functions are actually also available in Power BI. However, they behave different from, for instance, our SUMX function, which we used. Or also different from the calculate function, which we used quite often right now. Because all, as well as filter, as well as all selected, as well as another one, which is called values, also a helpful function. These are all table functions in Power BI. And let me show you what actually a table function is and what's the difference towards, for instance, something like our total sales, which we created. So these measures here we have created, like total cost, total profit, but also the ranking or the rolling 30 days. All these measures have one thing in common. They return values. Means they return numbers in here, like specific, 30 days, some 30-day sales, right? So specific numbers. The table functions, which we also used during the creation of the measures, they behave differently. For instance, in the ranking, the table function all, which we use, this itself does not return actually a single value. What the all function returns instead here is a table. And use the all function, so we use the return table here inside the ranking. And just because for the ranking, we return here actually total sales, that is the reason why we can use it as a measure. But if we would use the all function here standalone, so without, for instance, here inside this measure calculation, we can't actually create it as a measure because all returns a table and measure always return a single value. And to show this to you, let's actually go to the modeling option here. And you see that there is the new measure, but there's also an option to add a new table. So you can see here, you can also write a DAX expression to create a table instead of a measure. And the difference simply is that a measure returns a value, a single value, and a table returns, as the name implies, a complete table. So let me show this to you. Let's actually go to new table here. And let's click this. And just before we start, remember, we actually already used one table function. Do you know which I'm referring to? If not, it is actually the generate series. Because remember, when we use the parameters, so what if scenario, we actually created tables. And we saw this because the generate series actually only creates a table with one column with specific numbers which we specify. Now, other tables functions are, as I said, for instance, the all function. So let me show you what it does. So let's say all orders TBL, and I will say simply equals all, and then I simply refer to a complete table, like say dates table, orders table. Sorry, let's say orders table. Here, I can close this, and I'm good to go. Now, I can use this expression alone only if I say new table. If I would try to use this in a new measure, I would get an error because the measure can only return a single value, but the table can return a complete table. So if I evaluate that, press enter, you'll see that now we have here a new table which is created. That's why it's not appearing here inside a table. It is a complete new table. And it's also calculated. You can see that with the little calculate icon. And if you open it, you'll see it contains all the columns from the orders table. And if we take a closer look, we can go to the data view here and then select the all orders table. And you see the complete table in here. That's actually inside the orders table here. So the orders table here contains all the columns and all the rows of the order table itself. So basically all orders this year as simply a complete copy of the orders table. And that's actually what it is returned inside this all. So also let's take a look at the filter function, which you also used when we calculate, for instance, the running total sales. This also returns a table. Let's say we would like to return the orders table, but the orders table should be filtered based on the category, and the category should be, let's say, drinks. So only keep, please, in this case, the rows where the category is drink. Okay, so again, let's go to under home. Let's actually go in here, go under modeling, and let's say create a new table. New table, and then this table is, let's say, the drinks order TBL, and we can say equals, and we use the filter function, filter. Now the table we're going to use in the filter function is the orders table again, orders table. And as a filter expression, let's say that the category in the orders table should be equal to, and then in quotes, because it's a string, so a text value, we say it should be equal to drinks. Be aware it is case sensitive, and drinks is written in capital D in the orders table. That's why I'm using drinks here as well in capital D. So let me close the parentheses here and press enter. And again, you'll see that now a new table is created and we are good to go. Let's have a look. Let's make this smaller, also make the dates table smaller. And let's have a look. Where is our drinks table? There it is. And if I go to the data view just to see what's inside the drinks table, let me also make this smaller, select the drinks table here. And now it looks actually the same as the orders table. Actually select it first. So go in here, go inside. And now if I say, take a look at the category here on the most right column. And if you select here to filter, you'll see that there's only drinks inside. So it's simply a copy of the orders table, but limited to the category drinks. Because this is exactly, as you can see here, what we filtered. And again, the filter function, same behavior as the all function, it returns a complete table. It doesn't return only a single value. And this is why you can only use it, if I go back in here, under modeling, if you create a new table for DAX expression. You can't directly use it in a measure to return something, but you could use table functions inside a measure when you calculate something. This is what we've done already. Like for instance, for the ranking, you see that the orders table here, we use this, so we calculate this on the fly to evaluate then, in this case, the total sales ranking. But what we return in this ranking is of course the measure itself. So a value. We do not return the table. We only use the table expression here. But I think still that the video here might be quite helpful for you, because then you better understand what these table functions actually does. So all returns a table, the same as filter, but filter returns a filtered table, like we've seen with the drinks example, and all returns the complete orders table without or with removing actually all the filters inside the visual. But it is still a table function. And the final table function, which I would like to share with you, is the values function. So let me make this smaller and also show you how that works. So if I go under modeling and I will go with, in this case, let's say new table. Again, it is a table because it returns a table, not a single value. And for this one, I say these are my, let's say, category table, TBL is equal to, and here I say values. There's the formula. And if you read through it, when a column name is given, it returns a single column table of unique values. So basically it removes all the duplicates. And when a table name is given, it returns a table with the same columns. So let's say we would use the category from the original orders table, this one. I can close the parentheses here, and then I can press enter. And again, I will see a new table in here. Again, it's a calculated table, so it's not coming directly from the data source, and it's called category table. And if I take a look at the data view, just to see what is returned, you can see that the category table here returns simply a unique list of values of the categories. So there is no duplication and nothing else. It's simply a unique list of values. This is what values returns. So I just wanted to mention this here as well, because it's also probably a formula you will use more often when you continue working with DAX in Power BI, and then all selected, as well as values here, as well as filter are table functions you very often will use probably. But this is actually what they do. They return tables, not single values. So they can be used inside expressions to evaluate an expression, but they can't give you a single result. And this is why you can't create a measure with these directly. Okay? So hopefully that was helpful. Let me go back to report view. And otherwise, of course, always feel free to ask. And thanks a lot for watching. And I hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.